Hey, Browns fans, welcome into a victory edition of X's and Joe's presented by the Microsoft Surface. Nathan Zegura, the Hoff Joe Thomas. The Browns went out there and got it done for Jim Donovan. They beat the Ravens 29-24. Jameis Winston in his first start over 300 yards, Joe. 3 passing touchdowns. We're going to take a look at all 3 of those touchdowns, but what a win. What an emotional day at Huntington Bank Field.
What an emotional day. Everything that had to go right went right, and the Browns were able to walk out of that stadium with a great feeling for the first time in a while. And it was so good for all of the fans, all of those players to remember Jim Donovan walking out of the stadium with such a special win in his honor.
There's no doubt. It had to be.
That was the only way it could possibly have happened.
That's right, and that's how it did happen, and we're going to take a look at it. You knew you were going to have to score to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Well, the Browns, they did that. Over 400 yards of offense, 29 points, obviously a season high in this one. Let's take a look at the scoring, how it gets started. It's going to be a big day for Cedric Tillman. We're going to get to him, but we're going to start with the Chief, David Njoku, the Browns Pro Bowl tight end. Here we go. As you see pre-snap off, we got 2 tight ends to the right here. You got Jordan Akins, and then you've got the Chief right here, 2 receivers to the left. And as this play kind of unfolds, Akins goes in motion, comes back, and you'll see right at the snap, Jameis Winston knows immediately, right? What is this? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got man with a single high safety, and then what you'd call a lurker who looks like he's got responsibility on the running back. Could be an add-on blitzer if he stays in, or would have him out there. So he knows he's got man-to-man coverage. The safety's in the middle. And so what he's looking for, David Njoku running this seam, and see how he's able to widen up away from the safety. I thought Jameis did a good job here, Joe, with his eyes left initially, just to get that safety to move just a little bit. And now look at the space that is here to throw the ball. And it's good coverage, but when you got a guy who's 6'5" against a guy that's 6 foot, sometimes you just throw it up. And I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge this, Joe. Oh, that's nice.
That's a beautiful pocket right there. You're exactly right. There is no defense for the perfect throw. And when you're looking at man coverage, what you're thinking as a quarterback is, first thing is, all right, what's the matchup that I like? And obviously the Chief versus just about anybody in the red zone, I'm thinking the Chief. But you can't go right to him right away because you still have that safety in the middle of the field. And so you've got to be able to control him with your eyes. That's something that a veteran quarterback does really well. Understanding I need to create enough space from that safety to where I'm throwing the football to give my guy a chance so he's not getting hit as he's trying to make this catch. As soon as you're a quarterback and you see the defensive back's back turned towards you, that's when you feel comfortable and you feel that trust between him and David Njoku that, hey, I can throw this ball high. He's going to go up and catch it. And the man that's in trail man coverage is not going to have any chance to be able to make a play on this football as long as that play is high and that ball is over the top of his head. And as long as I've looked off that safety early on so that he can't run over and be part of that throw.
He set it right over the top of his head, and that's where it is. And then the Chief goes up. He can read the number 39 and Jackson on the back there, and Chief's able to go up and make that catch. A beautiful pitch and throw. And that's what you'll get with Jameis Winston, a willingness to give your guys a chance one-on-one. You get the matchup that you like. You look here, eyes initially this way, holds that safety. Again, this is what that is just a pocket of pure joy, quite frankly, for a quarterback to operate in. You've already moved the safety, and now he knows, hey, this is the matchup I want. Just put it up there, and boom, there's the Chief, and that is a touchdown, Browns. This is really the same concept on both sides as well. So you've got the single high safety. He's going to move it. So there are 2 matchups that my guess he likes initially. Jerry Jeudy working against a safety in Kyle Hamilton, and then David Njoku working against a safety. And so I think he's looking and saying, okay, where's this safety going? Safety's shading over here. Because if you look at it, it's outer go, seam, wide seam, outer go. It's basically all goes on the outside and the running back coming out to run probably a little choice route. But once he sees that safety move here, he says the one place he can't get is to David Njoku, and that's where I'm going to throw that ball. And he does, and it is a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a great man beater to call in the red zone because you got all goes. As soon as you see man coverage, you can pick a side. And then it's up to those receivers to either stack the defender, get on top of him, give your quarterback a throw towards the end zone. Or if you feel like the defensive back is bailing so much, now you can bend it towards the sideline and you can throw it towards the sideline where it's either my guy or nobody. And you've got a great opportunity to either get down in the red zone if they're playing soft and high, or if they're being more aggressive, you can go over the top like he did with the Chief.
Which was a beautiful thing. That was the first of Jameis Winston's 3 passing touchdowns. Let's take a look now at the next one here for the Cleveland Browns. Here we are, it's 17-13, 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in third quarter. This is a third down just outside the red zone, called the high red zone, perhaps here. And this is a team, we saw man earlier, but for the most part in this game, they knew they were down their corners. You saw a lot more zone from them. And what you're going to see on the pre-snap here is this is going to be a cover 3. You got deep safety. He'll have a deep third. He'll have a deep third. And so where you can beat that is when you have this guy dropping to the flat. If you run that post in behind it or that slant in behind it, that should be a window. So that's on the quarterback to be patient with the football. Let those windows open up. There's confusion on their line, which I loved. Ball snapped right there. And you see, so he's actually dropping out to the middle third. Here, you've got deep third over here, deep third over here, and the two linebackers kind of in that middle, those hook zones. Once he clears right there, this is who's coming to the flat. Look at all this space right here, Huff. And then Cedric Tillman does the rest.
Yeah, that's exactly the window you're trying to throw that slant in. It's all about being patient and making sure that your rush up front is giving you space and windows to throw in to be able to get that slant route thrown where it's not batted down at the line of scrimmage. And then keeping your eyes on that flat defender, just making sure that he is going to the flat with the running back so that he does create that space for Cedric Tillman to be able to catch the football and easily lay it up in there. And when you get this type of space in the red zone and you give your receiver a catchable football where you can run after the catch, it means beautiful things because the backyard gets a lot smaller when you're getting into that red zone area. It's really hard to gain yardage throwing the football because the defensive secondary just has less grass to defend. So getting that space, giving your receiver a ball that he can catch and run with is so important down here in the red zone so you can get those yards after catch, which is a lot easier to get in the end zone doing it like this than to try to line up on the 8-yard line and to go right back at this good Baltimore Ravens defense.
And look at all that space. And then when he gets it, he's running at full speed against basically a flat-footed defender. He can go here, he can go here, and Cedric Tillman's just able to use that one little sidestep and get into the end zone. I want to go back to this pre-snap because it is a cover 3, but what the Ravens tried to do was disguise it here. And you see there's chaos. They're telling Oweh, you got to get on the other side. So he's running as the ball is snapped, but they are actually bringing the slot blitz over here who is going to end up being unblocked. The safety that initially showed that he was the post safety is going to come over and actually man the slot. So it's kind of like a cover 3 match. He's going to end up playing the deep third, deep third, deep third. And so what ends up happening is Jameis Winston recognized this, and I'll tell you what, he didn't have that much time to get the ball out. He could have gone hot right here. That was a good read by Elijah Moore, just flatten that out. He's got Chief as well, but he says, you know what, I want the big play right here, because this would have probably been a first down if he gets it out here to Elijah Moore. He's got Judy there kind of as a natural blocker, but he sees Van Noy, who's a defensive end, drop into coverage, and then he sees just nothing but green grass. And when you throw to the green grass with an athlete, you let them go out there and do their thing. Touchdown, Browns. Let's look at it from behind the center here. Chaos right now on the line. Van Noy saying, wait a second, I got to go drop in this flat. Get over there. He may have been offsides there in front of Matabike, to be perfectly honest with you. But the Browns do a good job of at least solidifying the middle. Here's that window you talked about. And what you're going to see is this is anticipatory throwing because right now we don't even see Cedric Tillman, but there he is right into the window, and you talked about it. Ball placement's so important, isn't it? Because if this ball's on him or on his back, it stops his momentum. Where it is, it almost has him accelerate through that catch point, and he's got one guy to beat, and Hoffy's able to do it.
And the trust between the quarterback and his receiver is so important so that the receiver knows my quarterback's not leading me into a headache, right? If he waits too long, the window might not be there, but also he's got a safety who's going to be bearing down on him. And Cedric needs to know that he can extend for this play and he's not going to get his head knocked off by that safety. So tremendous job with the timing, throwing the right pass from Jameis, throwing the laser right in there so he can catch the football, and Tillman's able to take it on the run, make a move to be able to make just a short area move to freeze the defender for half a second. What? And then all you got to do is pick a side, right? It's not about making a Barry Sanders type move on the safety. You got to freeze his feet for a second, pick one shoulder or the other, and then try to run through one side and come out the other side of the tunnel.
And he did just that. Cedric Tillman with that big touchdown there, his first NFL touchdown. It would not be his last, though. It would not at all. Browns down 1. 1 minute and 3 seconds on the clock. They are on the 38. It is 2nd and 15 after a pre-snap penalty. You know, those self-inflicted wounds that at times have cost Browns games. Well, not today, not in this game. So let's take a look at this one pre-snap here again. Jameis Winston, they're showing This looks to me like this could be man outside. You got 2 deep safeties. This could be a shell coverage, could be quarters coverage. Let's see how it unfolds off of the snap. And what it looks like is an all-out blitz and actually man. So what they were showing beforehand, right, is cushion, 2, 3, 4. So this is an all-out blitz man coverage, Hoff. And the Browns, if you can pick it up, this is when you can make plays because they're going to end up bringing, as we let this roll here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've got 4 in coverage, and Roquan here in the middle. He's got Nick Chubb who's going to help out the blocking. So you're left with man here. Chief's going to chip and then head out. Man here and man here. And this is going to be Cedric Tillman out of the slot right here, working against the safety again. And you know what, Hoff? You can't play defense flat-footed. And that's the mistake that Eddie Jackson makes here, right? He's flat-footed with a full-speed Cedric Tillman, and as they say, and by the way, talk about picking up a blitz. Am I wrong right here? I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
That's a beautiful pocket up front. I think it's important to talk about the mindset of coordinators on both sides, right? You're on the 35-yard.
38.
You're on the 38-yard line. So right now you're thinking if we have to kick a field goal to win this game, it's a 55-yard field goal. Having a weapon like Dustin Hopkins who can make a 55-yard field goal changes what the defense is trying to do in this situation. And so they're feeling like we can't let them sit here with this ball because they're in makeable field goal range. So what we need to do is blitz. We need to try to knock them back a little further, take them out of range for their kicker, and then potentially if they throw it short, which usually when you blitz, you're expecting to get home with somebody, the ball's going to come out quickly. You're in man coverage, so you can sit on some of those routes, but at least we can make them a tackle and leave them with still a long field goal to possibly kick because they got a long way to go to get any type of a first down, but the Browns are able to pick up the blitz, which is so important because you saw that safety in the middle of the field. He was standing flat-footed, expecting the ball to come out quickly. When you blitz the house, all these DBs are thinking the ball's coming out quickly. I got to get up on their toes and make this tackle. But instead, the Browns say, oh, no. We're just going to pick this up. Jameis is going to hold the ball just a little bit longer because he's got the protection and he's got the cojones to go downfield in this situation when all you need is a field goal to win. And then just a great route by Cedric Tillman there. He looks like he's going to cross the safety's face. The safety's thinking maybe some type of in-breaking route where the ball's going to come out in the middle of the field. I need to make a tackle. And then all it takes is that one little step to the middle of the field. You give him the head and shoulders hezzy move to the right, and then you can take off over the top of that safety and give your quarterback an easy throw for the touchdown and the win.
All right, let's take a look at it from this angle because this is how you're going to see how the Browns pick up this blitz here. DeJuan does a great job. Joel Bitonio has eyes on this blitzer. You've got Posick here. You've got Wyatt here, Conklin, and then Chief with the chip, and then Nick Chubb coming over to help out. And so Joel Bitonio, good vision right here. He sees the blitzer, and look at this. Absolute wall. Roquan's going to try to add on late here, but it's going to be too late. And now, from Jameis Winston's standpoint, what he's looking at is you see right here with his eyes, he was looking at this safety, sees flat foot. He comes back, says, all right, I got Elijah Moore on this crosser. This could be a nice catch and run. But as he looks back again, he sees, oh, boy, even is leaving. This guy's running full speed. He's trying to turn around and run. That is a mismatch. And look at that ball up over the top. A beautiful rainbow. Brownie loves it. As he should. Look at him. Look at this crowd. Look at these guys. Look at the vertical right here. Everybody's losing. Is that a Joe Juravicious or a Jordan Cameron right there?
I'm going to say Juravicious in my mind. I love that.
You love it. And you'll look again here, just real quick. Just at a time when you need to pick it up, it doesn't get any better than that. That is everybody working together. And this is an offensive line that has not worked together in this group before. Now, from left guard over, yes. But DeJuan Jones, first start left tackle, and Huff, I would say there are very few alive, if any, that know more about left tackle play than you. He did a great job here against Odafe Owe, and just what a pocket and what a throw.
Yeah, I texted DeJuan after the game, just congratulations on the win. I thought you played really well because I thought the composure that he had during the game, the way that he blocked every single time in pass pro, he was creating lanes in the run game, and I saw very, very few mental mistakes. And for a man that's never played the position as a starter in this league to be able to go in such a big game and a big moment and play great football the way he did, hats off to him. He's done a fantastic job, and I can't wait to see more of him at left tackle. So it's really cool to be able to see this play from behind because it takes me back to my protection meetings talking about end of the game scenarios, fingerprints of a defense, understanding when you're right on the edge of that field goal range. Typically, defenses are going to give you one of two things in this situation. They're either going to blitz everybody like the Ravens did here, or they're going to look like they blitz and they're going to try to drop 8 in the coverage, force you to hold on to the football, maybe a check down, and hopefully your rush gets there or an incomplete pass. So on offense, knowing what you're probably going to get from the defense, usually you have 2 plays that are ready in this situation. You have a regular protection that's a 5-man protection where you can get guys out in their routes if they're going to try to drop 8. But if they're going to try to blitz the house like this, a lot of times the check is to this full turn protection. You see basically everybody on the line, on the offensive line, is blocking to their left, and then you have David Njoku blocking the edge. And then the most important part that's often overlooked is you got Nick Chubb. He's starting on the left side, and he's coming all the way across to block on the right side, which most people would think, oh, that's a long way for him to go. But remember, when teams blitz 0 and they're in man coverage, there's somebody that has to cover Nick Chubb. And when Nick is running full speed across the formation, he doesn't know if he's going over there to block or he's going over there to run a route. So he has to cover Nick Chubb for about a second and a half until Chubb slows down and finds his gap in protection, which buys the offensive line enough time to be able to pass off any stunts or games. And then watch Jack Conklin right here. He's able to leave the man that he's blocking to go down in the gap and block Roquan Smith. And that allows us to block 7 for 7, even though it's a little bit edgy, and give Jameis the time that he needs. And that all comes from Ken Dorsey sitting back there and going, all right, I'm ready. If they blitz 8, we're going to call this protection where it's a full turn protection. We got 5 offensive linemen moving to the left. We got David Njoku blocking on the edge, and then Chubb going all the way across the line of scrimmage. If they don't blitz everybody, we can check to our second play where we get everybody out in pass routes, and we got 5 potential receivers down the field. But tremendous job by Ken Dorsey predicting what he was going to get from the Baltimore Ravens, so you don't have to check to anything on the line of scrimmage. You're able to get into the perfect protection and give Jameis time to be able to go down the field and do something that the Ravens secondary didn't think was possible, which was to throw a big pass over the top, a post route over in the middle of the field, because they don't expect you to have enough time to get to that route.
By the way, look at the awareness from Jack Conklin and Wyatt Teller. Both of them have kind of won their blocks, and they have eyes here, and they're going to come and both get a piece of Roquan Smith right there. I love it as Jameis gets the ball out. But you talk about things that are overlooked. I'm going to just go ahead and draw attention to this. This is your tight end. This is Kyle Van Noy, who has 7 sacks coming into the season, is an edge rusher. And when you have the confidence, and that's what makes David Njoku, we know what he does as a pass catcher, but what he does that are kind of in the trenches when he's with the Mushroom Club, that tells you why he is so special, that he is he can do it all. He can be a blocker for you. He can be an inline tight end in the run game. He can be a pass blocker, and he also was an electric pass catcher. But this is one-on-one against an excellent pass rusher who came into this one averaging a sack a game in a critical moment, because you would ideally say to yourself, and that's part of why they blitz, right? Jack Conklin's blocking a Mike linebacker, an off-ball linebacker. Because of the pressure look and the protection, that puts him over there, which is why Nick Chubb's coming to help if he needs it. But David Njoku does a great job. Van Noy tries to even get a spin move on him. Chiefs right there, and look at that. Takes him completely out of the play.
Pancake by David Njoku. And those are the things that get the attention and the notice of other coaches around the league, gets you the respect from other players around the league, because there's plenty of tight ends that walk the face of the earth that can catch touchdown passes and win one-on-one routes against safeties. But it's doing those little things that don't get noticed, except for the people that are watching the film that have given David Njoku the reputation and the respect throughout the league as one of the best tight ends in the league. It's being willing to do stuff just like that when the game is on the line. And if he doesn't make that block, if the Browns don't trust him to be able to block Kyle Van Noy in that situation, they can't run that protection, and they have no chance to be able to get this ball down the field for the win with Cedric Tillman.
Well, it certainly is a lot more fun under these circumstances, not only having you in person, but breaking down the film of a huge Browns win over the Baltimore Ravens. All right, you got one. How do you keep this momentum going and next week at home again against the Chargers?
I think you have the same process, whether you win or lose, but obviously the feeling is a lot different right now. There's a lot more hope and optimism in that locker room after the job that Jameis Winston did this weekend, the way that you have Elijah Moore stepping up, you have Cedric Tillman stepping up, legitimate weapons on the outside in this league right now as Nick Chubb is rounding himself back into form. What you're doing is you're really selling the message of this offense is really starting to click right now. We're getting Chubb back. We got our play action passing game going. And so now it's just about saying, hey, there's nobody in this league that can stop us except for us. So let's continue to tighten up the self-inflicted wounds, continue to limit the mental errors and the penalties that hurt us so much early on in the season. And there's no reason. Why not us? There's no reason why we can't go on a nice run here and put ourselves in contention come December.
Let's make some history, and I'll tell you what, if this offensive line pass protects for Jameis Winston the way that it did in this game, there are going to be a lot more fireworks on the scoreboard for the Cleveland Browns. For the great Hoff, Joe Thomas, I'm Nathan Zegura, thanking you, the best fans in the world, for joining us inside the film room for another edition of X's and Joe's, presented by Microsoft Surface.